Oh, yes.
So the one next Tuesday, is it here or at the school?
It'll be at the school. And I don't know if it'll be in the library, I don't know if it's gonna be in the,
Do they have scheduled the here?
yes, it's
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you
I
going?
knew they're trying to schedule this week, was that?
Are you going?
I'll find out either way.
Are you guys going? Next
Yes,
Tuesday?
We will be there.
I leave with the chairperson, so I usually.
What time is it?
6.
Okay, good.
I already went. I was a week early. Is this Tuesday today?
It's Tuesday.
Oh, did you
Well,
go
I
there?
just checked it out, we're not there.
No, we're here.
No, it's the basketball awards. I should be there, I'm also here. So.
We pulled in at like 3 and there's no cars here. I'm like, is it here?
All right, shall we call the meeting to order? Call to order. Do we have the notes of the minutes from last meeting? So, okay,
go ahead.
next meeting?
Yeah, I have it in a folder on my desk. No defense needed in my opinion. This is a voluntary organization.
Voluntary service, selected position.
Yeah. That's true, that's
Okay, one more.
Do we have an agenda?
No, I think it's just to go over this.
All right.
Is that right? We're just going over the select board recommendation?
It's your meeting, but yes, please.
Okay.
You do minutes with Caleb and bring it back in, or you can do those at the end, whatever you want to do, it's your chair.
We can do the minutes at the end.
Yeah.
When we get started.
Okay.
Me? That's you.
As usual, thank you all for coming. The first thing I want to do is make sure everybody has the same version of the budget. In the lower left-hand corner, it should say, Select Board recommended March 11th, 2024. And I'll work our way through the whole thing, but I will say the Select Board made some little changes, some big changes. In the end, the budget that they're recommending, I believe, is 2.6% higher on the expenditure side this coming year than the current year. With that, maybe we could all start on page 4, which is administration and finance. And I think everybody's familiar with how it's set up. You'll note in the current version, differently than what you've seen in the previous version, Select Board recommend column is now filled in with the amounts that they've recommended versus what was requested the columns prior, and that you said it on February the year. With that, administration and finance, the Select Board opted not to make a change to what was requested, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions for anybody about administration and finance. If the crickets don't get any louder, I'll keep turning pages. And I will highlight every change that the Select Board made as we went through. Now on page 6 with animal control, and the Select Board didn't make any proposed changes to that beyond what was requested, which is a 2% increase. Going on to page 7, fire department. Well, there's a substantial increase in that overall budget, primarily due to wages and the pay plan as well. Was that talked about? Did we talk about that during your?
You talked about the school, I mean, the medical leave?
No, we had the request in this, we must have talked about it. The wage, the fire department requested a change in their compensation. They had a pay plan where the officers each got a certain stipend per year, and then the firefighters got paid for 1 hour for every call they had. And the request was that they didn't think that was adequately compensating them for their time. And so the request is made that Wage and Personnel reviewed the request the fire chief made, which is to compensate firefighters for $18 per hour for both calls and for training purposes. And that is the bulk of the change in the fire department line. So I can't remember if we talked about that during budget review or not, but now we have. Comments, questions, concerns at this point?
Just to confirm that so
Yeah.
far, the select board hasn't made any changes.
Correct.
From the previous.
We're getting closer, John.
Yeah, okay,
They haven't made a note yet. Speaking of that, on page 9, under emergency management, the select board did a slight reduction in $2,612 request, and reduced that to $500. Select board has, at their last meeting, appointed the public facilities director to take on the roles and responsibilities of the emergency management director within the compensation offered him for public facilities director. So the wages and statutory benefits are zeroed out here. Are there other questions regarding protection other? Looking forward. Town office, the select board is recommending what was requested, $35,802. Keep turning the page. Code enforcement, select board is recommending what was requested, $57,933.
And contingencies the same as well.
Oh, did I skip
That's
that?
nice.
Contingency is the same as well, sorry. My sticky fingers aren't sticking enough, apparently. Assessing on page 13 is recommended the same as what was requested. Public Works, Highways and Bridges, page 14 is the same as what was requested. Public Works Transfer Station, this may have changed from a previous draft you had. We didn't at one point have the budget for Midfield Solid Waste, so we just stuck a number in there. I think we stuck last year's number in there, and then we actually changed the budget request, which changed the request down slightly, and the select board recommended the new number as well, because they don't really have a choice. Public Works Harbor on page 16, the select board is recommending what was requested of $32,650. And then there's a change on page 17. Inland Harbor Master is requested for $0. The select board at their last meeting appointed the public facilities director as also the Inland Harbor Master, and made it part of his job. No additional compensation, of which he was agreeable to.
I was gonna ask that. I still have a public works.
Yeah.
I don't know who that new person is.
Matt Dean,
How to spell that?
M-A-T-T, space, capital D,
Capital D.
E-A-N-E.
Okay, good.
That's the funny thing.
So you're doing it for free?
He's being compensated under administration and finance.
I didn't say what else would I have to do.
I thought you'd go there.
Sounds like the plate's full.
Yeah.
Like, why was I saying?
There's a fair amount of plates full, and I think everybody's got a few little hats on, but
small town government.
That's right. And,
Yeah.
so that request, the bottom line for Public Works out of what the request went from 15,390 to 13,550. That was the only change in that. Turning the page to boards and committees, the select board made a reduction in what they're recommending for the comprehensive plan review committee. The initial request was $30,000, and the select board changed it to 10. And I'm getting, oh yes, oh yeah, there's a change that went up. Oh, thank you, I didn't highlight that one. There's also a change that went up on this page. Under select board, the select board is recommending that the chair receive an additional $500 a year stipend for the chair's position. So you'll note the top line went from $7,515 to $8,054. And there's, in addition to the 500, we have to pay FICA, Medicare, and pay family medical leave act. It's a little more than $500. Everybody see that since I jumped over it for the other one? No. I don't want to be accused of trying to sneak something by you. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not, I'm going to turn 2 pages and go to page 20. And tell you that the select board made one change on this page, which was the Historical Society. The Historical Society had requested $2,500, and the select board changed that to $1,500, or is recommending $1,500. I believe that, well, you can see that what they made the request for, they wanted to have $2,500 to go towards a certain project for their well, for their drinking water. The select board, in their wisdom, said that the townspeople looked to relieve themselves of the burden of that building and sold it to the Historical Society. They wanted to support the Historical Society at the historical level that the town had prior to giving them a building or selling them a building for $1, and hence the $1,500.
I do have, a question a little bit, is the LIA, which previously had that building and maintained that building, is getting the same amount and no longer has control that building.
Correct.
So, I know a little bit, I was at select board meeting, so I know a little bit what they wanted that for, but that was something I'll discuss there.
There was actually a gap where the town did the maintenance to that building in between the LIA to us. You can see back in '23, we didn't give, town didn't make any donations to the Improvement Association. Yeah.
How much was the maintenance the town paid on that building? Do you remember?
Ooh.
In that gap?
It varied widely, but I believe it was probably less than $10,000. But we put it, once the maintenance responsibilities came back to the town,
Right.
that's when we hired somebody to come in and do an evaluation of the building and identify all the things that were deemed deficient. And we did, I won't say we did as little as possible, but tried to do as little as possible in the interim until the select board made a determination what they thought was in the town's best interest, and then took it to the town, who said, yeah, you can sell.
So the town was paying around $10,000 a year for that building?
Yeah, I think that, I'd have to look,
Less.
because I'm sure it was less.
Right.
But how much less, I don't know.
I'm just, when I look at the Historical Society asking for some money, they're also maintaining a building the town would have had to have dealt with in some way.
That's why the town chose to sell it, I believe.
For $1.
Because they didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments regarding that municipal support? Budget ever. Page 23, the select board reduced the request because they just looked at what the budget committee had recommended for provider agencies and quizzed the chair of the budget committee a little bit and then said, yep, that works for us if it works for them. Paraphrasing, so.
That's fun.
Was it?
I haven't actually been, I've been a select board meeting years ago, but in a long time, okay, so a little bit of their process.
Turning the page to page 24, this is where the bulk of the change came from. The select board zeroed out the request for the harbor improvements and said we have some money in harbor savings. We want to do those projects, but we're going to take it from harbor savings. And they also zeroed out the town office landscape improvements. They said, I don't want to say what they said, but there's grass out front, we'll leave it with grass out front. Move on.
Barbs and goats.
It ain't fancy.
Does it need to be pretty, huh?
Well, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
Yes.
right? Any other questions about capital improvements? Select board made no change to the debt service from what was requested. Turn this to the last page. The initial request was for $3,104,730. Select board changed that. Now recommends $3,020,883 or 2.6% on the expenditure side. Revenues, projected revenues are down slightly. Primarily due to the loss of the American Rescue Plan Act funds. And there we are.
Pretty modest increase.
Yeah, you can look at $100,000, I think that's pretty
Yeah.
responsible. I mean, the word.
And what we would look to do next, or as we move forward, is give you folks your chance to do your due deliberations and whatever else, and then there's a public hearing in April. At that public hearing, we'll have a draft town meeting warrant, similar to what you saw last year or at the special meeting, which will have the select board's recommendations filled in and a blank for the budget committee. And then you folks will be able to make your recommendations. We'll fill in the budget committee recommend column in the budget, take that back to the select board. If you had some reason to recommend a higher or lower number, they'll probably be interested in why, and then they'll either change their recommendation or they'll say, so be it, and sign the warrant and move it off to the races.
All right. Any further discussion on the budget, guys?
Yeah, I missed something really big, I guess.
Yeah.
On page 2.
Page 2.
Yeah.
That's the summary sheet, right? Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, okay, now that I'm reading page 2 more carefully, I guess I didn't miss anything. I'm good.
Okay, good surprise, John. Yeah, pretty thorough.
Perfect.
All right.
Is there any sections or anybody else you want to talk to about this budget that I could look and invite to a further meeting? Okay.
And certainly, since you just got this, a number of you just got this tonight, as you digest things, if you have questions, Gail and I are pretty well available most times.
The comprehensive plan.
Yep.
I know they came and discussed it, but does anybody still have concerns about that? I mean, $10,000, but I feel like I still don't understand what they're doing with that money.
Wait, could you repeat that?
Which
Sorry.
The comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive, yeah.
It's a-
I mean, I know they wanted 30 grand and we were like, but I'm still kind of about 10.
I think what the select board's recommendation was by saying 10 is the subcommittee of the comprehensive plan, the heart and soul team that's working diligently on their little heart and soul effort, won't likely be completing their work until some point later this year. And then that's supposed to feed into the comp plan for some of the vision for the community. And the comp plan review committee right now is updating the comp plan, or trying to update some of the older sections from the 2006 version. And then they want, I believe they're talking of bringing in somebody to help them, assist them in actually physically writing the plan and changes, taking the vision. The comp plan committee is doing the inventory now, and the vision's coming from heart and soul, and then morphing those two together to get the plan for action steps as we move forward.
So, simple question, what's the return on this investment? What is this gonna do for the townspeople of Lincolnville? If we're paying 50,000 or whatever it ends up being in the end, how does this benefit us, or what is the value of that money spent?
The best value for that money spent is having a plan. So you know what's idea behind the comp plan is understand where you are, understand where you want to get to, and then draw out the roadmap to get there. And otherwise, you leave it to find people like me to just create the vision for the community, which is not really my role. And then it does open up some avenues for some monies. Certain programs that we applied for, assistance grant programs, if you don't have a comp plan, some you don't, if you don't have a state comp plan, you're just immediately eliminated. Some, if you don't have a comp plan, you get points taken away from you. And if in the competitive world of trying to find money, that makes it a challenge. And some don't, some grant plans don't, they don't care whether you have it or not. The other part of what we have is if we go to make changes to our land use ordinance, particularly to the part that districts our town, if we don't have a comprehensive plan that's consistent with the state's Growth Management Act, then your districting or zoning can be found not enforceable. But that would only be if we're looking to make a change, which at the moment we're not. But we are looking at doing some changes to our commercial site plan because of a development that would have been proposed that the townspeople were concerned about.
And so if in 2 years we get concerned about something else like that, then if we have this comprehensive
Yeah, or
plan,
if
then it's.
It's certainly helpful. It certainly created a little bit of a wrinkle for us when we went to have the voters consider a moratorium. And then when we were talking to have people assist us in developing or altering or amending the current rules that we have, one of the questions asked was, well, what does your comprehensive plan say? What type of thing are you looking to accomplish or not accomplish in your community? And it's like, well, comprehensive plan's available online. It was last approved in 06, and they run out. In the state's eyes, they run out after, you can't remember if it's 10 or 12 years. I think it's 10, but they give you a grace window, so. It's kind of like a giant version of what hopefully everybody does at home, is try to foresee the future and create a plan so that not everything that comes up is a crisis.
And I don't think I'm questioning the plan itself, because obviously it's something that needs to be needed, but, they asked for a lot of money this year. Obviously, if they're gonna be looking for somebody else to help them write this, that's gonna be a lot of money too, so I'm just wondering, what's the cost of this comprehensive plan? Because I know we voted last year to give them money as well.
Yeah,
How
last year,
much is this gonna end up on the bottom line to get a comprehensive plan?
last year didn't give them any money for the comprehensive plan, but we did set aside $10,000 for the heart and soul. It's a matching project. I believe the select board believes that the effort will be less than the 30 that was requested, but they're not quite sure how much less. There are some that believe, and there's certainly some communities, it's all volunteer effort to write and rewrite comprehensive plans. It could be zero. I'm not advocating for that. I'm advocating for $10,000 because that's what the boss has said. But I think my instincts tell me that if you appropriate 10,000, there will be a follow-up request in the following year before this is finalized and adopted. I will say the Heart and Soul team has been very frugal with the grant money that they received, as well as the town's money that we contributed to that, but they're not done yet either. It's not exactly the same people.
Is there a time frame when they're all gonna be complete? I just don't wanna see us get into this cycle of, well, we've already put this much into it, we need to keep moving, and it drag on for the next 3 or 4 years.
Oh, no, I think the comprehensive plan committee was hoping that the 30 would be a one and done request. I think the select board has a little different timeline in terms of knowing how much committees can get done and knowing that the heart and soul effort isn't done yet. So I think the select board's looking at probably a 2-year time frame, but hard telling, not knowing the city.
I know, crystal ball.
Yep. Because our plan on the plan is not planned.
Perfect sense to me.
Thank you for the question, and thanks, Dave, for that.
Trying to explain it.
Yeah. Does that feel like that clarifies it more for you?
I mean, I get it. I mean, my thing
Whether you
is,
think it's necessary or not is a different question.
right, is it necessary this year when we're already expecting a pretty substantial increase for this side of things, and we know what's happening with the school budget?
I think part of the process already started, is that correct?
What's that?
The process has already started with the.
Well, the comprehensive plan review committee's been working for a
Yeah.
year or two on
Anyway, right in my column.
on the inventory of what we have. Once again, the way I explain it, where you are, where you want to be. They've documented where we are. I think they're almost done with where we are. And the heart and soul is helping create where we want to be. And then the comp plan is going to take that, finish to where we want to be. And then the hard work is, the course you take to get from A to B. There's many different ways to get to your end point.
So that group will have 20,000 between the two. I mean, I think that's the part that I'm having a little, is there's 10,000 in heart and soul, or there was. That's
right, the matching.
before they spent,
Yeah.
whatever. But they're planning to use some of that money also for the comprehensive plan.
I don't know how much money they'll actually have left over when they're done.
Mhm.
But yes, I mean, the heart and soul was certainly funded with the intention of using the results to assist the comprehensive plan, so you can make that connection between the two.
Mhm.
Just because I don't want to question money anymore about this,
Go
who
ahead.
approves a comprehensive plan?
The voters of the town of Lincolnville.
Okay, thank you.
When the plan is complete by the committee, or when the committee believes it's complete, they'll present that to the select board, who will then either say, yep, we agree with you, it's ready for the voters, or no, you go try again or keep going. And at some point, that iteration process between the select board and the comprehensive plan committee will stop, and the select board will say, yeah, you're all set. At that point, there will definitely be public hearings to set forth, this is where we think we are, this is where we think we want to go, this is the roadmap to get there. And then ultimately that document gets approved or gets put forth to the voters for approval. Perfect.
And how long is it valid for?
10 years.
And we've gone 18 years with that one.
No, we had one in 06, so then we ran out in 16 or 18. I don't know if it's 10 or 12 years.
It sounds like it's one of those things we didn't really realize we needed until we needed it.
Well, it comprehensive planning effort lost a lot of enthusiasm at the state level with different elected leadership there. That's a fair way to say that. The whole state planning office got wiped off the board at one point and just eliminated, and the work wasn't eliminated. The work was just went, some went to DOT, some went to Department of Conservation, some went over, you know, it was still there, but it wasn't in the planning office. And the state still doesn't have a state planning office, but you're still required to comply with the law. And the work gets reviewed.
Have we applied for things and been turned down because we don't have one?
We have not chosen to apply for some grants because
It's required.
one of the check boxes was, do you have a comprehensive plan that's consistent with the Growth Management Act? And you check no, you've just self-eliminated, so why spend any more time applying? That being said, we've certainly acquired a number of grants beyond that either didn't require it or it was just points off.
So this comprehensive plan, it'll be made of a number of sections.
Yep.
And within each section, there will be subsections. So maybe, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And so the committee might have an idea of those sections and subsections.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, if they get just that much done, they might want to try, like ChatGPT or something and feed it the information. Have you tried that before?
I'm not smart enough to do that, Joe.
It's very conversational. It's just really easy. And Google has one. If you have a Google or Gmail account, you go there and you do it under your own account. It saves all your conversations. You'll write huge amounts of text.
I was looking to save money, but I wasn't thinking that much money.
No, really, because I've used it for some things. I got out of hot water with the IRS partly, but for our road association, I screwed up the taxes last year. And I had to go to Jared Golden's office and everything, but I got help from the Google Gemini to write a nice letter to the IRS, and it brought out points I wasn't thinking of. So I added that into my own text. But no, I'm just saying, you do that, it gives you back a bunch of text. You could disagree with it and say, or you could say, clarify, could you clarify this, please? So it'll come back and clarify. You can ask it, just to elaborate on things and so on. So it's a conversation and it keeps shaping to what you want. So I mean, amateurs could probably do this because these chat things, they look at the whole internet. They look at everybody's comprehensive plans. They see how they're structured, the words that are used, the sections and things, and it brings like the wisdom of the whole internet to bear on your problem. So I don't want to volunteer to do it.
I think you just did. Rough draft due April 1st.
I think what I will do is take that suggestion and pass that on to the chair of the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee and say, Dave Kinney's not bright enough to explain this, but John Williams did.
It could save us a lot of money if we experiment a little and look at it and say, hey, this is may be passable, we could do this, look at the other town's comprehensive plan, oh, pretty good,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
As I said, you know, the A and the B and how to get there, that's just another way of, we have an outdated plan, that's where we are, we want an updated plan, and one of the paths might be just with
Yeah,
what you explained.
Mhm.
Just need somebody to translate it into, you know, English and computer speak besides me, because I can't do it. Technologically challenged.
Okay, question. With the comprehensive plan, if we approve the funding for the 10,000 and it is not, and probably next year another amount to complete the project, if there are additional funds left over, where would that money go?
All of our monies, with very limited exceptions, fire department monies, at the end of the year, because town meeting at some point in the past said if the fire department doesn't spend all their money, it goes into the truck fund. The harbor account, if we don't expend all the maintenance money in the harbor, it goes into the harbor savings account. And anything that the townspeople vote to carry forward from one year to the next, like dog fees and conservation commission and plumbing fees, anything else, so administration and finance is a good one. At the end of the year, if we haven't expended every nickel out of administration and finance, anything remains, goes into what's called undesignated fund balance. You'll note on the last page of the budget, under revenues, we take $750,000 out of undesignated fund balance every year. Well, not every year, but last year, and we're proposing it again for this year. It's not that we're not expending $750,000 every year out of this budget. It's the fact that we get other revenues that aren't budgeted for in the course of the year. For example, this year, we're going to have the property tax stabilization money that the state said last year, you know, if you're 65 or older, meet these qualifications, your taxes will be frozen for a year. We're gonna get that money in, we didn't budget for that money.
I bought a more expensive car last year, so that might.
Excise tax, you know, there's plumbing fees that we think, we don't know if we're gonna get any plumbing fees, but
Building permits.
yeah. So there's that type of stuff that just comes and it's easier to budget for it when you actually have it in the bank than it is to guess, and then the economy goes south and nobody's building a house and you budgeted for $30,000 worth of building permit fees and you get, you know, 2. Somebody says, how are you gonna make up that difference? I don't know. Sorry. So, that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes, I mean, it's there, and if
Right.
we need it, we have it available, so.
And monies can only be brought forward from one year to the next under very limited circumstances. Our town charter says if we have a capital project that we've started that we haven't finished, that we can automatically carry that over. That only makes sense, you know.
So if, for example, they didn't spend any of that $10,000 and we decided to give it to them.
Yep.
They would ask for $10,000 next year and they wouldn't have spent it, we wouldn't have lost $10,000 because it would have gone right back to the town. Is that
Right,
correct?
and unless the request is that we carry that money forward from one year to another, that money would just go back in the unassigned
So
fund.
it's like that 20,000 next year.
Or the select board could say, well, why don't we just carry the 10 and request 0 for this coming year? It's asking the people to do the same with their money, you know, it's all our money.
And kind of to follow up on Emily's question, if there's leftover funds, I mean, with this chat thing, if we had a go at that, then you could hire someone as a consultant to read what we have and edit it. Maybe it would be pretty close, and then we wouldn't have to spend all that money to have them write it from scratch.
Other questions? All right. Well, I guess we can move on. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
As always, very explanatory. He always has the answers.
Always
It comes up somehow. Everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from February 1st? Probably not.
Well, they were emailed out here, so.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Wait a second.
One second.
All in favor? All right, I guess I will, there's nothing else in further business?
The 22nd minutes are there too.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Both of them.
Oh, I guess I'm,
Covering all our bases tonight.
all right, thank you. I'm here, motion.
I will make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes from February 22nd.
And second,
One second.
all in favor? Approved, any further business? So we will meet at the school, no, I guess that's the school budget review.
The next
Our next
meeting
meeting is-
is March 26th at the school at 6 PM. And that's for the,
But that's not our budget meeting, that's a school
Or school board.
workshop.
correct, that you guys are invited to. And then the next meeting after that is April 9th here, and that is when the school is gonna do, the school board says they're still gonna try to approve a budget on April 1st at their meeting. So they're having the meeting on March 26th to have the workshop, and then they're hoping to make their recommendations on April 1st. And then they're gonna come and present it to you, their final recommendations on April 9th at 6. So,
All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.